We're live, everybody, and it looks like we got a pretty good connection. When you pop in, say hi. Let me know where you're from. I'm just going to clean my glasses here as YouTube gives everybody a few minutes, gives them their notifications. A lot of my moderators and stuff, they expect me here at this moment, and I almost didn't make it, people. I almost didn't make it. I had to walk my sister's dog. And I almost forgot. I have my live show. Like, I had to squeeze that dog in somewhere. And I wanted to make sure the dog had lots of time to do it, saying it's an old dog. It moves really slow. But it was an exceptionally ill-behaved dog today. And it was the rain. It was the wet weather, the puddles, how it drew all the smells out of the earth. Even it got to me, right? And if I didn't have a live, I would have loved to have gone for a walk, even though this dog walks, oh my gosh, a mile every 100 hours because she's a very, very old dog. But yeah, I almost didn't even make it in for my life. But here I am on time with a fresh cup of coffee to boot. Do you like my new coffee cup? I have no idea what this coffee cup says. If anybody recognizes this language, oh, look, an Angry Birds fan was first this week. Holy moly, that's a first that one of the moderators didn't make it here first. But we'll see who pops in tonight. I guess you're going to hold the fort until everybody gets here. But I'm pleased. I'm here. I'm on time. I got a cup of coffee. Andrew's in here too. Yeah, Andrew is coming in a close second. Oh, and a close third. Like it's a horse race, right? My dad, you guys all know my dad was a compulsive gambler. But my dad loved the horse races. He loved the horse races. And the horse races were good because he believed in the family doing a family explore or family adventure day at least once a week if he was in town, if he was at home. And his favorite things to tie in what he loved to do with what the family loved to do was Mom would make a picnic and we would go to the horse races, and my dad would get to be able to gamble all afternoon, and he might even make extra money because he would have us kids running around collecting tickets after there was a question on who won the race, a close call or something. And he'd go, okay, you guys, go get the tickets, go get. And then when him and Mom would double check all the tickets in between the races. And lots of times they would find winners and good winners too. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had us do that. But we thought it was fun. We thought it was fun until probably we got a little bit older and a little bit, more self-conscious about what we're doing out there, right? But yeah, when we were kids, to us, those things were kind of fun, right? That paid for the hot dogs and the popcorn and the pop. And my mom and dad with 4 girls, right? All pretty close to the same age. My youngest sister is only 6 years younger than I am. So it was almost a baby every year and a half. Me and the second oldest sister, Tracy, she's a year younger than I am. Yeah, she's a year younger than I am. And then I have one sister is like 4 years younger than I am. And then my last one is 6 years younger than I am. So Chuck E. Cheese, do they still have those? I think they shut them down here. Got myself Chuck E. from Chuck E. Cheese. Oh, it's a restaurant. It's a name. Yep. Here in Canada, we had a restaurant called Chuck E. Cheese, right? It was some kind of kid's birthday restaurant where you would go and have birthday parties at. And yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about there, dear. I got some amazing, talk about collections. I got some amazing statues. I'll show you guys later as soon as everybody gets in. We're going to see who all pops in tonight. And like I said, don't feel afraid to pop in. As you can see, I've got great guys here. I have some great moderators. And as the live progresses, people will pop in, right? As they talk, everybody knows I do an hour and a half on YouTube every Sunday night. The topic is always open for discussion, right? Where I spend a lot of time in the comments, and a lot of our discussions are the topics that I guess my followers, right? My followers are discussing themselves, and my moderators too. They kind of oversee what's going on. If they find topics like Andrew, he loves literature and history and stuff. So you're talking about those subjects, he jumped right in, right? And Owen is a great supporter, right? And he understands emotions like I do. And he'll catch on really, really, really fast if you're not having a good day or something. And yeah, he'll lift your spirits for sure. And he recognizes almost everybody that pops into these lives. And I don't think Owen misses too many of them either. I hope your mom is doing well. How did your Friday go, Owen? How did last Friday go? I'd love to hear what was going on with that. Okay, you guys have totally lost me now on the Chuck E. Cheese and the Little Caesars guy. I have no idea what you're talking about. Maybe some branding or something in restaurants. Oh, those Beanie Babies. You guys talking about Beanie Babies. We get a ton of those at work, and they sell really, really fast, and we price them at 25 cents each. But I know a lot of those are worth lots of money, especially if they have the old buttons and stuff on them. I got some really good scores at work this week. My sister's got them she's listing them tomorrow. I got a group of books, a little collection of books. It was a series of 7 books. And I think I paid about $4.50 for all of them. And we're going to ask $100 for them. I also got a really beautiful piece of Limoges, which is a ceramic pottery. My sister's got all this stuff now, or I'd show you. Oh, and I got a pair of indigenous moccasins, true ones with the beautiful, beautiful beading. And she's going to be listing that one too. Yeah, so we're building that pot, right? We must be maybe $1,100 or $1,200 now. My sister said we sold something else yesterday. I can't remember what it is. All I know is I just keep buying this stuff, and I just keep giving it to her, and she just puts it all together. And like I said, we have saved $1,200, I think, pretty close to $1,200 now. And yeah, that's pretty exciting. It's all going towards my car. I got some crazy news, people. I got a really beautiful, beautiful invite from some people in the Middle East. They want me to come to visit. My priorities is my car, right? This is my goal. I want my car. I want to get back on the road. I want to support, right, the things that I love, Mother Nature. But at the same time, I do want to travel. I do want to see other places. And I'm not one to say no to an adventure. I certainly am not. And especially when the offer is all I have to do is pay for the plane ticket. Like in a couple of paychecks, I would think I would be able to pay for a plane ticket. I bet you, right? I got invited to go to Iran, people. And I got invited to come to Iraq, too, also. And they said they would take me to Turkey. They said they would, right? So what an adventure that would be. And wouldn't that be amazing to do those kind of adventures on the road? And not just do my own back roads, but do the back roads of civilizations that I know that in my past life, I have lived many, many, many lives, right? And I would love to go to the Middle East. And you know what? And to be hosted by the citizens that live in these big cities, right? That live in these big cities, that, you know, I can feel comfortable and I can be safe and I can relax and actually enjoy the environment and in the experience. and at the same time also be able to represent in some of my videos, some content from my YouTube channel to really show the world, that there are beautiful people all over the world, that there are beautiful people all over the world. And we have to judge people on an individual basis and not on the basis of their churches, their political ideas. These are where the problems come in, right? This is where the disagreements, and you think just because you disagree on this aspect that you can't be friends, and that's not true, right? It's just like us here. Every single one of us is different. Every one of us has different personalities, but the thing is, we kind of have a lot of the same values, don't we? If you think about it, like just look at the language that we have in our comments here. Like, how often do we have to ban anybody from and sometimes our comments, they roll. People come in and they get into discussions, in my conversations, they roll in the comments, and yet you'll never hear the swear words. Very rarely will anybody, well, maybe I'll let one fly, but not very often, do we, Andrew? Owen? Like, how often do we hear the swear words going on in the chatter? Very rarely, if at all, right? So what that is, it's reflective on the morals, right? The standards, the values of our group, right? That we kind of respect, that we're going to respect, right? Being respectful of others is high on the list, that we have to believe. And because it's part of my brand, is that it takes all kinds to make the world, right? That it takes all kinds to make the world. It's very warming. It's very, and it just evolved on its own. Like nobody ever said no swearing on Cindy's channel, right? Sunday nights, nobody get to like these terrible conversations and inappropriate, right? These things don't happen, right? Like these things just don't happen on my channel. And it's really kind of nice that we all found each other, even though I'm sure, right? Like we have some amazing people here that would love to let it fly, right? Right? We do. And we know we do. Like when Melvin comes in, and Melvin loves politics. And, when something upsets him, and if he's got something on his mind, he truly does bite his tongue, right? He bites his tongue, and out of respect for the people in the comments. Oh, hello, dear. Look at this. Oh, don't retract your comments here. Let me. Oh, sometimes in the European countries we get yeah, you know what, dear? I wonder if I add you as a moderator that they would let your comments come in. It's because there are new European laws and stuff about what can be contributed. But I just tried to see if I could turn you into a moderator there, and if they would allow your comments to be added into the conversation. Because this is a beautiful lady, right, that I've been having conversations with in the Middle East, and I would love for people to be able to get to meet them, and to realize, like, oh my gosh, such wonderful, beautiful, insightful, that practice mindset and mindfulness, and very, very unlike what I come to understand, right, in my young adulthood about what was being represented, what was being fed to me to think certain ways about certain people. And I've been looking at this kind of ideas for a couple of weeks now, just touching base, when I have an interaction with somebody, or somebody I know has a little bit of information on me, and they use this information to kind of, direct me in a certain direction or make me feel a certain way. Nobody should ever directly try to make somebody feel guilty or ashamed, or, right, feel bad for being a little bit slower, or even not being one of the crew, or standing in line. What is it called? Like my ducks, right? Ducks in a row, right? I have certain standards for my very self, and those are the ones that I listen to, and those are the ones that I abide my life to. And so far, so good, right? So far, so good. Oh, I see. See, it worked. It worked. Everybody, this is my beautiful friend Aziz, right? She's from Iraq and beautiful. She actually the other day she put her camera backwards and showed me from her rooftop from her home her beautiful countryside with the mountains and the villages, and I'm really excited about showing that content, to everybody out there. Aw, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's so nice of you to see. And actually, everybody, I don't know if I told everybody last Sunday, but I've been kind of having conversations. And like I said, they're learning English, right? Because obviously, the way the world is set up now, that English is probably going to be the first language of the world if it isn't already, right? If it isn't already. So people are realizing this, and English being the hardest language in the whole world to learn, people are actually making that effort to learn the language. And I thought, well, how do I tie this into my brand, right? Because Cindy loves anthropology, because Cindy loves culture, and I really do love diversity. And this is Manitoba that I live in, and we are a very cultural province. We multicultural province, and it kind of makes me proud. And because part of my brand also is it takes all kinds to make the world. I want to get this straight. I want people to see, right, the amazing people that there is all over the world and not just where I live, right? And what a better place. Yeah, more than welcome to kind of be in here. And if you meet anybody in here, dear Aziz, if anybody comes in here and they're all trying to come into the conversation, and remember, they're learning English, so I'm not sure how far along, right? I know, Andrew, you will be lovely to them. I know that Owen, you'll help them along because they'll be writing too. They'll be, not only do they have to be brave enough on Instagram to come live with me, right? And we have discussions, and this is how we're doing is we're having discussions about cultures and landscapes and, right, people's dreams for themselves and their dreams for their families, their goals, right? So we're having conversations within my brand, which is absolutely amazing. But at the same time, they're learning English. So if you can help them along, right, because their English and their writing English will probably be at different levels. I don't know how they're being taught, if they're applying as much effort into the writing English as there is to learning to speak it. Aziz, if you could let us know that, do you put as much effort into speaking English and writing English? Is it equal? Are you as good of a writer of English as you are a speaker? Very beautiful. And she made a beautiful speech about never giving up. And I'm going to make a clip of that because it was amazing. I really loved your speech on never giving up. We had a live one day and you were talking about if you really want to learn English, if you really want to move yourself forward. She gave such an amazing little speech. This girl is 12 years old, people, just to let everybody know, right? But this is a good place. This is a good place for children under, at any age, for anybody, right? Just be respectful. Like, we keep the swearing down and understand that, and we do, right? Oh, thank you, Owen. Thank you. I like talking to you on Instagram too. But your written English is pretty good too, dear. So yeah, I would love to see you in here on Sunday nights. And now that I've made you a moderator, we have to keep it that way because the way the laws are in Europe, and right, that when it comes to YouTube and stuff, everything is made appropriate for the children and stuff. So we want to make sure that we follow YouTube's rules, right? We want to make sure that we're not causing anybody any grief, right? And I do have permission from her parents to have discussions with her and stuff. So that says a little bit of something about me too, that somebody's parents would trust me to have these important conversations with their children. So, and I'm honored, and I'm very honored to meet you, Aziz, and I'm very honored to meet your brother and see your father in the background, right? That was really quite lovely. And I love the landscapes when you showed me, right? That was very considerate, because you knew I would love it so much that you made that extra effort to get on the roof of your house and show me your love's landscapes and the beautiful hills and the village in the background. It reminded me of Tuscany in real truth. That's how beautiful the landscape was, right? From where she lives. What's the name of the little village that you live? What, dear Aziz, what was the name of the little village that you live in Iraq? You collect pens, Andrew? I didn't know you collect pens. We come across some very fancy pens. I have a present for you, Andrew. I wasn't going to say anything, and I don't even know why I said anything right now, because I didn't bring it downstairs. My sister had two they're painting. There's some kind of artwork. They're made with paint and wood, and they're put together. Very, very modern, right? Mid-century modern. I think they were made on teak. They look like very abstract paintings or artwork, some kind of artwork. Oh, I wish they were here. I could show you. And there were two identical ones, and I thought I would keep one and I would send one to Andrew because he loves Jesus so much. And this isn't a Jesus picture. It was a Mother Mary and the baby, but it was in a modern, and it was just a little one. It was just a little one, but it was so beautiful, and somebody put a lot of love into making it. So I kind of wanted to send it to you, Andrew. That's if you don't think it's going to clutter your house. I know you're decluttering and stuff, but I looked at it and it said Andrew all over it. I thought of you right away. And because there were two of them, I thought it was a nice way to connect, because I would know I had one and you had one, and would just be kind of symbolic of the friendship that we've built over the years, right? And I just kind of thought of it like that. If you've never been into my lives before, you're more than welcome to jump into the comments. Usually got a pretty lively crew here on Sunday nights, and sometimes it takes a little bit for the notifications to get out to people. And lots of people, right, they have struggles right now. Let me know, has everybody gotten their vaccine yet? I'll be trying to get my vaccine. Well, it's not on the slide. I just know that they're not turning anybody away. So my sister, when she comes home from work tonight, she has to come by my apartment to pick up her house key, because she left it with me so I could walk her dog. And I'm going to ask her if maybe she wants to go with me, and we'll go get our vaccine together, because I know that they are not turning people away. And if we can print those forms up, right, those consent forms, so then all we have to do is hand them in and go get our vaccine, and that would save us from being in line and filling out forms and everything, because we'd have it already. So maybe tomorrow will be the day that Cindy gets vaccinated, right? So that'd be pretty wonderful. This is coming to an end, people. This is really, I know it looks like a mess, right? But sometimes we have to make a mess to clean a mess, don't we? Sometimes we have to make a mess to clean a mess. And these past couple of years have certainly been one doozy of a mess for sure. There you go, Andrew. And you're going to enjoy this little piece of art. I wish I had it right now, but I left it up. I went up to show my sister Alice just to see right? What the value would be in them if I were going to sell them or something. But I said I don't want to sell them. If they're not worth a lot of money, I would like to keep them for myself because they're so beautiful. And then she says, well, you might as well just keep them, even if they are of value, keep them anyway. And I thought about it and I went, yeah, I mean, just because I pick things up for work, it doesn't mean that specific with the intent to sell them. It doesn't mean that I have to, we fall in love with things and there comes a point where we just say, okay, we can't part of it. It's got to be part of my life. And because like I said, Andrew, as soon as I saw them, I just thought of you right away. And because also, remember David, he said that he didn't get the little icon that I sent him, that little open Jesus with the open heart. And I mailed it to Mexico for him. And he said he didn't get it. So I thought, well, maybe I'll send him the other picture. I'll send one to Andrew and I'll send this one to David and we'll see if this one gets to him. And then I thought, well, Cindy, you just finished saying how much you love them. Like, don't sell them because you love them, right? And then I thought, oh, right. Yeah, I need to keep them. And then I said, well, no, I don't need to keep both because they're exactly the same. You'll see them when I show them to you. They're exactly the same. Little variations, right? Because they're homemade, like they're art, but they're supposed to be sort of kind of a pair, I think, but they're exactly the same. So there's no point of having two the same. So I thought, okay, well, who am I going to gift one to? So I gifted one to you. And then here I was all ready to send David one. And then I thought, no, Cindy, you love it. You keep it, right? I'll show you next Sunday. I'll get it this week. I'll bring it downstairs so you can see what it is. It's so lovely. I think you'll think it's really cool. It won't take up any space. Maybe you can sit it on at your desk and it can inspire you, because just looking at it myself, I find it to be very inspiring, right? Well, I haven't asked her if she's going to go with me to get the vaccine. I'm hoping that she does, but thanks, Andrew, for taking note of that. And yes, I do get reactions from the flu shots whenever, because here in Manitoba, people usually in the fall, they'll get a flu shot so they don't get sick over the course of the winter. I had my first cold in 10 years last summer, and it was a doozy. It lasted for a couple of weeks. I felt very, very bad. Was it last summer? No, it was 2 summers ago. It was really, really bad, and it was my first one in 10 years, right? So I haven't, because I spend so much time by myself. I don't spend a lot of time interacting with people that would spread lots of germs and stuff. And now with the coronavirus, it just kind of cuts that even more to a minimal amount of interaction with people. So yeah, I haven't been getting the flu shots only because the first time I took the flu shot, the very next morning I woke up and I had inflammation in the tendons under my feet. There's a name for it, right? Tendinitis or something like this. And for 11 months, the pain and the heat and the pins and needles were almost unbearable. It was 24/7. I could barely sleep. It lasted for about 9 months. And the guys in one of the departments in the company that I worked for went and got me special shoes, and these shoes were like miracle shoes because I put them on and it took the pain right away. And I called them spaghetti shoes because when you looked underneath them, they just looked like rubber, and it just looked like strings of spaghetti or Twizzlers or something, that rope Twizzler, and it was just all bunched, and I guess it was the way it distributed my weight to get the weight off of those sensitive spots. So I told my doctor. He says, "Oh, it was probably from the flu shot, right?" And then a few years later, I thought to myself, "Well, maybe it was just in my head. Maybe it was just a fluke that had happened the next morning, right? Maybe I'll try again and get the flu shot again." And then I got the flu shot again, and then I woke up the next morning, and the exact same thing that happened to my leg, it happened in my arm in right where the shot was, and pins and needles and heat and constant pain. And that lasted for almost a year. It was 11 months. It lasted for 11 months, and it was constant. It was exhausting to be in that pain and stuff, right? And I forgot about that. I forgot about that quite a bit, the arm. But, it reminded me, I went, okay, for sure, Cindy, right? You're allergic to the flu shot. My doctor said, don't take the flu shot anymore. But I believe in the vaccine, right? And I believe that if I'm asking people to take the vaccine, I should represent whether I have reactions or don't have reactions. And in my head, I'm convincing myself again, right? Cindy, maybe it was just in your head, right? Maybe it was just in your head and you're not allergic to the flu shot and you're not going to have any reaction at all to this vaccine. And yeah, so we're going to try, but we're going to do it in the other arm. Make sure it's in a spot where I have no pain, so that if that pain arises again, I will never ever take a shot for anything else again. I remember when I was in high school, this is so funny. When I was in high school, we were all standing in line down the hallway of the school, and we were all entering the nurse's office to get our vaccines. They'd give us a sugar cube with some kind of medicine. I don't know what that was for. I think it was for polio. And they gave us the sugar cubes, and then they gave us the cowpox, which was the vaccination for chickenpox. And the nurses couldn't hold me down. The nurses had the doctor hold me down. All the ladies from the office showed up. Even the principal showed up, and they were all holding me down. I was fighting like I was possessed or something, because I did not want to get a vaccine. I did not like needles, and it was very embarrassing. And they did it on purpose. They left the nurse's office doors and everything, and every kid in the school, right? Every kid in the school had their head poked in, just to see the ruckus that I was making, right? Which wasn't very nice. But you never know how many of them were a little bit nervous about getting their vaccination, right? And I probably agitated a lot of those kids, because they had to go through the same thing I did. But they had to keep their mouths shut, because otherwise they were going to look the fool like I did, right? Because holy cow, I think I was 15 or 16 at the time. So it would have been pretty embarrassing. Well, I don't know. We all have struggles in life, right? And Sadhguru, he's some kind of yogi or guru, and he was talking about this too. And it's all about perspective, right? Because if you think it's a struggle, if you think it's painful, if you think it's a struggle, right? It's going to be, but you can switch these bad things that happen to us, these little boo-boos. I knocked my head on the microwave. I got a big bruise on my eyebrow there. But you can look at these things as changes, progress, because when things get mixed up, when that hurry scurry, when those little boo-boos and accidents, right, little hiccups in life, kind of, right, this is a good sign. This is stirring the pot, and this is a good sign of movement. So this is how I look at it, right? I'm just not a boo-hoo kind of person. And neither are you, Andrew. Neither are you. You kind of take your beatings. And Nancy, well, look at Nancy, right? And we are such and that's maybe something else, another characteristic of our crew here, how we can take those negative experiences, right? Those hardships, those heartaches, right? Those struggles, and we can emotionally turn that around into something optimistic or something positive, or right, find something good, because we can always find something good, even if the lesson is a hard one, right? It's a lesson, and just having a lesson is a good sign. Oh, okay. I don't know how good I would have been in a blood donor center. I guess probably I would be okay. In a hospital, I wouldn't have been a good hospital employee, even though my mother did it for decades and she loved her job. She worked in the maternity ward. She took care of the babies' cleanliness needs, diapering and making sure bassinets were clean and everything was sanitized, garbage pail, everything, right? So she took care of the maternity ward. And she did that for decades, and she absolutely just loved her job, right? But I have a problem with being around so much sickness, so much sadness, so much, right? It's really hard for me. Like, I could walk in the door and just burst into tears and not know why. Well, you know why? It's because it's all around you, everywhere's around you. But you wonder why are you so overwhelmed when you don't even know the situations? You don't know the people. You're not connected in any way. And yet you have these emotional rushes and this compassion and this kind of, I want to get out of here, right? I don't want to be here. This is just too overwhelming. And that's the word it is. I find hospitals to be very overwhelming, but I'm very grateful too at the same time, I had friends that were absolutely terrified of hospitals. And when I was going in for my plastic surgery or my gastric bypass or little things that were going on with me, right? Uh, they would come to the hospital. They would spend time with me. They would comb knots out of my hair and have conversations and spend as much time as I needed them. And they would sit there. And I remember my friend Brian, right? Biggest, dearest, sweetest guy absolutely ever, right? And you know what? I know better now. I know better now. Next time around, not a chance. He's coming along for this ride because I've learned that lesson, and his brothers and family have all learned this lesson, right? And I wish if I had known even 6 months earlier, things could have been a little bit different. But it's our choices. We all make our own choices, and we can't beat ourselves up for the other choices that other people make, right? All we can do is be accountable for our own mistakes, our own failures. And even then, it's not a matter of blaming and guilting and shaming and right. It's not about that. We got to remember sometimes we learn more from our failures than we do from our successes, right? So we fail and fail and fail. And each time we fail, we get a little bit better until at the point where we don't fail in that. It's like riding a bike or riding the skateboards or right. We just keep striving, right? And it was like what my friend Aziz said when we were talking in a conversation, and she made a beautiful speech about never giving up, right? And it's like that. You make mistakes, you fail, but you just get up and you have the courage and you be brave enough, and right, you keep at it until the point where, wow, that's second breeze to me. That means nothing. But the thing is, you did it. That is easy. It's nothing, right? And you were ready to give up on yourself because you weren't able to do it, because you persevered and because you keep practice. It became easy. But the thing is, it still feels difficult because all you've done is put yourself at another level, right? And you understand this, Andrew, as somebody who loves to study and read and keep up on history. Like, it's a tiered kind of level. So even though you've learned this one, you're all learned and you thought it was almost impossible, you're there now. So now the bar has been set a little bit higher. So now you're still struggling, but you're struggling, right? After you've reached this level, now you're struggling to get up to an even higher level. And that's important, right? That's part of evolution. That's part of moving forward, right? Oh, I like that, Andrew. Jerry Rafferty. And who was he? He was a singer? Jerry Rafferty. I'm trying to think. Was he a country singer? I'm trying to place his name. He said, if you get it wrong, you'll get it right next time. Right? And that's the way we're supposed to look at these things. These are lessons, right? You got to think of yourselves like the little kids, right? When they're standing up and they're just starting to learn to walk, but they can't take that first step, but they're holding on to the wall and they're standing up on their own and go, good girl. Oh, you're doing so good. You're doing so good, right? But now they've learned that. But now the next level is them to let go of the wall. And they let go of the wall and go, oh, look at you. You're standing all by yourself, right? right? And it's that encouragement, that good job along the way, right? It's progress, it's evolution. And that's what I mean when I say evolution. It's just improving ourselves. Never stop learning. Never stop learning. Find something that you absolutely love and delve into this passion. Delve into this passion while we have the opportunity online, right? And again, I'm looking forward on to getting on to Elon Musk's satellite service for my internet. I'm looking forward to that, right? I think it's going to be the safest way to guarantee to secure the fact that I will always have internet, right? Because I think there's going to come a point where maybe the internet or what we're doing here will be something for the privileged, right? It's going to be something for the privileged because it's going to be too high. People are not going to be able to afford their internets, right? Like Nancy was saying, right? Like how she struggles to keep her bills going and everything. And there's going to come a point where, only the privileged. And actually, I was listening to Elon Musk this morning, and he was saying there's going to come a point where there is going to have to be unified income, right? That there'll be one income for everybody in the world just because there isn't going to be any jobs, right? Because they're not going to be needed. They're going to have computers and robots do everything, right? Even the cars, like 10% of the jobs involve driving, and cars are now being made where they don't even have to get steered. Now, that's going to take a little bit of getting used to because us as humans, we like to control, right? So it's going to be hard for me to give up the steering wheel and the brakes, right? But this is the way the world is going now. This is the way we're going to look so different 100,000 years from now. Oh my gosh, humans are going to be so different, and everybody's such in a rush to get it right, to move themselves forward so far ahead. And it's important to move ourselves forward, but I think it's important for us to move forward by taking in the lessons, not bypassing the lessons, not going around the objects that are in our paths, right? Because then we're going to bump up with something or a situation or somebody, and that lesson that we bypassed, right, just so we wouldn't have to bear that pain or save some time, is going to be needed, and that's going to stop us right in our tracks because we won't have those answers. So I always think it's important to take the lesson. So it's not a rush. It's not a rush. We got a long time. And if there is a rush, if you do feel a pull, an urgency, well, maybe in this lifetime, this is your mission lifetime. This is the life that you were supposed to wake up and show your thing. And we do it numerous times during the course of our evolution. We get to come back. Otherwise, we wouldn't be at the educational stage that we are and have the intuitive knowing where to look for and where we're supposed to be sitting in our lives, right? And it makes it very easy. If you're paying attention, you'll get the signs, you'll get those intuitions and those little gifts that say, dangle in front of you and go, ooh, Cindy, do you like this? Do you want this? Do you want to go here? Right? And then if it puts a smile on my face like this, then that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do, right? And that's what life is all about, right? It's struggling. I don't call it painful, and right, because these things are going to happen in our lives, whether it's with our loved ones or we self-sabotage or we're struggling to go for something that's a little bit bigger than ourselves. Nobody has to start at step one, or yeah, maybe you do have to start at step one, but you have to put the work in. And if you put the work in the field that you want to be in, there's no reason why you can't step at the door at the very highest levels. And you shouldn't have to be feeling bad because you strive, because you hungered, because you worked and were ambitious enough, courageous enough, right, to go for it, right? Don't let people hold you back. Don't let people make you feel bad because you hunger for something a little bit different than what they have. Sometimes we have to leave people behind, right? And that's just the way it is. But sometimes, if they're open enough, they can kind of follow along, right? Take in the lessons, do the work, find the time, be the person that you're expected to be, and you can move. I mean, it's only been a couple of years, but boy, right? Even today, the amount of work that I put in, the amount of conversations that I listen to. Oh, I got some good ones today. Oh, what did I hear about today? Um, oh, yeah, this is someone I watch his stuff every once in a while, right? Because I don't want to delve into one religion as a whole. I want to make sure that I leave myself open so that people from all different cultures, all different religions will be feeling that welcome for me, right? Feel that they can approach me and be able to understand. So I want to know about different cultures. I want to know not so much about the politics, right? Because I understand that people should be just appreciated for what they bring to the table in an individual kind of manner, not as a whole, right? Because we know that some people have more money, more power, right? More education, that some people just don't get those opportunities. So I kind of like to leave myself open and understand that even the little guy has a voice now. If that voice is meant to be heard, or at the very least, like even though we have lives and stuff, spread that magic. Like let us know what your gifts are. Like I know very well what Owen's gifts are and what Andrew's gifts are. And here's Melvin. We were just talking about you, Melvin. Yeah, some of us, I don't like conflict either, Melvin. And it kind of makes you stop in your tracks and wonder, right? Because I know I can stick up for myself, you know. And I would love to ask your opinion on something, but yeah, this guy who incited a kind of a gathering down at the Forks here this week, and they were protesting the face masks and having their rights shut down and everything, and they weren't even wearing their masks. There was like over 1,000 people there all gathering together, right? And it kind of made me feel bad because I've been tooting the horn of the province and everything, saying what it was such a good, had nothing to do with the government. They just decided that's where they were going to gather and stuff. And the Forks actually just shut the whole of mall down and shut all the businesses and restaurants down right away and said, we want no part of this, which was a really good way to represent the province in that way and to take care of the people that have leases under them, right? To make sure that they're seen as somebody who actually cares about not just the shops, but the customers who come into those shops, right? But this guy is cross country Canada. He's going straight across Canada, and he's going to go get across the border. And they says, well, it doesn't matter. He's going to have to go into quarantine for 14 days. I said, that's not the point, right? What's he going to do after those 14 days? He's going to incite another, and I shouldn't use that word incite because he's not inciting it, but people are going to these gatherings and these riots and these, right, to hear him speak because he's actually making speeches and stuff, right? And you can imagine if we had thousands in Winnipeg to come and see him, to listen to him, right? People came out to see him specifically. That can you imagine if he got to Ontario, if he got to Toronto, what he would possibly do, especially when Toronto is working so hard to shut it down. I just say, these people, they don't deserve their benefits, right? Make them pay back their benefits. Make them pay back their benefits, right? If they thought they were going to lose their benefits that the government's divvying out to help them survive during the coronavirus and to keep them in place, while the provinces and the cities are being shut down, well, you know what? If they're not honoring their part of the contract, like give that money back, I say, right? And it's hard lessons, but that's what it is. It's a hard lesson. And sometimes we need our hard lessons. Believe me, I've had many hard lessons myself, right? Okay, so let's look at some of these comments here. I'm reading Andrew's comment here about Dr. Barbara Heinrich. Oh, okay. My dad would say things like, turn the other cheek, right? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Remember the golden rule. Um, there were so many of them. Like they were just rules that we lived in. I think it was my dad's 12 commandments or something. But every day I heard these things from my dad. But I understand also my dad practiced mindset, right? My dad loved Bob Proctor and Carl Sagan and who else did he like? David Suzuki, like, great thought leaders of the 70s too, enlightened, conscious people, right? So he enjoyed great thought leaders. I think my dad would have really enjoyed having a conversation with you, Andrew, right? Because, yeah, my dad loved literature, books, mostly about outer space and deep thinking and goal setting and making money. Yeah, my dad was an entrepreneur, right? He had his own fishing business. My dad liked to work for himself, and I understand that. It's hard to take directions from other people. It's hard to have your own ideas, but you're working towards other people's dreams and you think you know better, but this is somebody else's dream and they have their own ideas about things, right? So it's hard. I do it, and I do it with a smile on my face. But everybody has a breaking point once in a while. The one thing my boss doesn't like, she doesn't like people to say, "But it wasn't me." It drives her absolutely bonkers, right? And so when she gives us poop about things, she doesn't care. She doesn't care who does it. She just doesn't want it to happen anymore. She wants it done a certain way, or she wants to change this up. Doesn't matter. She told us it was totally something different the day before. Today's a different day, right? This is the way it goes. And so she never wants to hear, right? And then I said something. She goes, "What, Cindy?" I says, "Oh, you don't want to hear, Pearl. It's not something you want to hear." She goes, "What don't I want to hear?" I says, "It wasn't me." And I smiled at her and I went back to the till, right? Yeah, it was funny. And it's nice that we can understand each other and that we explain each other and that we understand what irritates each other, right? And we understand when somebody barks at us, it's not personal, right? When they go for the jugular, right? They're just releasing some stress and stuff. And that's what my boss does. But she would never ask me to do anything that she wouldn't be willing to do herself. And I would be happy to take some of that load off of her. I tell you, she works like a 20-year-old and she's got high blood pressure too, right? And I have that good health. And even though I'm getting up there, I don't physically feel it. I feel like I'm just starting my career. I just feel like I'm starting this, right? And it's fun. I guess that's why I don't feel that hairy scary so much about why it's not happening right this moment. And right, it can be agitating, but I don't dwell on it, right? Because I understand this is a process. It's going to take a time, but one day, right? Because that's one thing I do have in myself. I believe in myself. I see a vision for myself in the future, and I see a vision for other people, right? For the future. And if I just never forget that, right? And that's my belief, right? And as long as I believe that, I know that I'm golden, that I can just move forward. And like I said, it's not a rush. I don't need it yesterday. It would be nice if I had it, but this is part of my life now. And I'm kind of getting used to this kind of change, right? And it'll always change. It'll change into something different all the time. But it's really, really nice to be able to meet people now from different cultures, to have these conversations, right? I really, really like it. It's been a good time, and I really appreciate everybody that you're making everybody feel comfortable when they walk into the lives and introduce themselves. But you'll see these call names and these thumbnails, and you'll know who my new followers are on Instagram, and I've invited them to come here just because I know how kind everybody is, and we know not all souls rub up perfectly. We understand that, but remember, Even though 10% of everybody that you ever meet will absolutely despise you, well, really not like you at all, 8% of those people do practice do unto others, right? So they won't say anything. They'll turn the other cheek. They'll keep their mouths closed, right? Oh, another one. If you can't say nothing nice, don't say anything at all. These were things my parents said, right? So things like this, right? So I really appreciate that you make everybody feel comfortable when they come into my life. So I'm going to continue to invite people over. And it is their nighttime. So it is the middle of the night. So I understand and appreciate anybody that can make it into my lives when I do them on Sunday nights, right? Okay, let's check out some of these comments here. I feel the same way, Andrew, about that, right? I used to be, and this is a good lesson for everybody, right? I've been scapegoated my whole life, gaslighted and scapegoated my entire life, well into my 50s, right? This has happened to me. And I allowed this to happen to me. All my fault, right? I just handed over my power. And I got from these relationships myself, right? We kind of got intertwined. Our energies got intertwined with each other. And it made it hard for me because I come to realize that the only way that I could be heard is if I could get people's sympathy or if I could be in charge. So when it came to work, I always wanted to be in charge. I always wanted to be supervisor, manager, right? Independent contractor. I wanted to be in charge. But it wasn't because I wanted to be in charge. It's only because I couldn't be disrespected, right? I couldn't trust that I wouldn't stick up for myself because I am big on sticking up for myself. I really am. Right? I've been treated badly my whole life, and I guess it was a process, but over the course of the years and the decades, I kind of built up a little camaraderie with my soul, right? With my insights. And I decided like somewhere along the line that I wasn't going to allow myself to be treated badly by what other people thought of me, right? And it was hard. It was hard. You guys know how hard it was last year when I was feeling so bad because being around my sister made me feel bad, right? About myself, about my understandings, about moving forward, and if it was even possible. That's how difficult. And I was heartbroken. I was heartbroken about the manipulation and the actual, I call them pylons, the things that were done to make me go certain ways, and to see myself being gaslit, not saying anything, and at the same time delving more into it in my studies and learning about it. And that's what helped me to break free of it, right? But it doesn't make it any less heartbreaking. It's still very, very painful to give up the things that you love, right? The things that are not good for you, and to move yourself forward. But that's evolution, right? And I don't think I could have made the movement that I did this year. That was necessary. Oh, so necessary, right? So necessary. And if I hadn't been able to pull away from my sister, and I had to repeat, believe me, knowing that I was having a problem, I came back just knowing that I had to break that relationship, and I just delved right into it, and it just got worse, right? Because the fear set in, that knowing that I had changed and that a tighter grip had to be held, and a more deeper feeling of shame and guilt had to be instilled. And that was the most hurtful point. And that when when somebody purposely set out to make me feel bad, to keep me in my place, right? Not to help me stand up, not to lift me up, not to stand beside me in my goals, but to actually make me feel terrible in myself, make me feel inadequate, unworthy, with intent. people sometimes do these things without intent, but um, when there's petty jealousy, envy, resentment, and like Wayne Dyer says, there is no justification for resentment ever for anything, right? And that was what made the decision like a no-brainer for me. I just said that's it, right? But it doesn't stop me from trying, right? Everybody, like an alcoholic or a drug addict, you get it many times as you need to get it right. And I know from experience, it could take one word, one action. It could take absolutely nothing except a smile, and you could just crumble to a new understanding about life in an instant, right? So I'm optimistic that this could still happen, right? I'm very optimistic, but these are choices that I don't get to make. So I can put my stuff out there, I can put the pylons out there myself, right? But because I don't like it done to myself, right? I don't like it done to me, I would try to avoid doing it to others when it would make them feel uncomfortable. Yeah. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Right? So, yeah, it was a beautiful day today. It was. I'm just going to turn the heat off here I turned it up because I turned it completely off because I was going like a maniac today. I said today I was going to have a true day off. I was going to have a true day off today and do absolutely nothing. And I am exhausted. I did everything. I tore my bedding apart. I washed all my bedding. I washed all the clothes that I'm giving to donation for work, and I folded and washed all of those. I took out all the boxes and garbage and stuff that I had sitting here that from these surprise boxes that I brought. I had lots of garbage, and then on top of that, I had 2 trips down to the garbage bin to do. Cleaning out closets, cleaning the bathroom, doing a bunch of hand wash, doing the dishes, getting in lessons, taking my sister's dog for a walk, doing a live show on Instagram for almost an hour, I think, this morning on Saturdays. I like to go, or on Sunday on my day off. I want to be online if at all possible, right? And so I like to do a little bit longer ones on my days off. And then here I am on YouTube, right? And I do an hour and a half on Sunday nights on YouTube. And here I am. I'm beating myself up on momentum and not moving forward and not getting enough stuff done, right? Look at what I accomplished today, just today. And this is how I felt about myself today, that I wasn't moving forward. My dreams aren't being fulfilled. I'm not moving in the direction that I want to go, and I'm not getting enough done. And that's what I got done today, right? What more can I do, right? And I'm exhausted. But I have to remind myself, because see, sometimes I think these things and I don't take a look around at what I actually really have accomplished. Hi, Nancy. I agree with that. A good leader has good intuition, right? That's the thing is, I actually was talking to my manager about this the other day, and I was telling her, that we're all so different that work in that store. Every single one of us, different religion, right? Different political views, different ages, and yet we all get along so amazingly well. Like, just not in a work aspect, but we actually care about each other. It's really kind of just lovely. And so many of us are conscious there. Like, maybe it's just because I just woke up and I'm meeting these people now, but it just seems a little strange to me that everybody that I work with in the store that I work with is very conscious, and we can have these deep conversations, right? These very insightful, and I'm not alone, right? That I can feel that I can be myself and have these funky ideas, and bounce these ideas off the people I work with and not be judged for it, right? So So, but again, like I said, I don't know if this is common. We had a discussion about this. And, you think, oh, are there other places like this where everybody's awake and have these intuitions and understandings of people's emotions and stuff, right? Because even though there are managers and supervisors and door keers and stuff, we are all kind of managerial kind of personalities. We all respect each other's insights. Like, my manager say, Cindy, go do this. And I would do that. But then again, I'd say, hey, can you go do this for me? And there would be no question about it, right? I like how we appreciate each other's personalities, right? I really do like that. Yeah, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. And that's why maybe I did go the entrepreneur route, right? Because you work for yourself. You're your own boss. You're right. The only person that truly, truly understands me is me, right? And it would be amazing if I could work for myself. And I say I'm working towards that, but again, right? I think when it's ready to happen, there'll be a way. There'll be some kind of wave. There'll be some kind of intuitive understanding that will come to me, and it'll just click into my head, and it'll just happen naturally. I'm confident about that, right? Yeah, this can't be about money. This is definitely not about money at all. This is about my legacy to the world, a little bit about what I'm leaving behind. This is about me moving forward by, telling my story and letting other people reflect their own lives and what they see in my journey, right? This is about, right, keeping company with each other in each other's struggles, right? Because sometimes that's all we need is just to have a kind word or a kind friend, right? Somebody that won't mind if we're having bad days, that they just, even if they'll just sit with us for a little bit, right? And then we could do the same for them. That's what I love about my lives on Sunday nights. That's what I love about these conversations that we have when everybody gets together on Sunday nights, that that we can be friends now, but just progress in our own journeys at our own pace, right? And then 20 years from now, right? And seeing where each of us has evolved in our relationships, in our own lives, right? Maybe Andrew will have that job, right? He's been always talking about leaving the job that he has now, and he has ideas on what he likes. But that idea will come to him, or that opportunity will come to him, and he'll be sitting, at a desk, or right, or he'll be sitting doing something that he absolutely loves, right? What's with Nancy now? The monorail is not running. I love the monorail. When I was in Seattle, I loved the monorail. Oh, that is so sad. Nancy, what do you know what the percentage of the people who have gotten their vaccines yet? Do you have any idea what the percentage is? Right? I would love to know how things are going to go economically after the vaccines have rolled out and things are start, because I heard that on July 1st, isn't New York supposed to be opening up 100%? Does anybody know what my coffee cup says? Does anybody know? I got this coffee cup. I absolutely love how nice and big it is. I love the colors, the graphics of it. But it's in another language, and I don't know what the language is. I suspect it might be French, but I have no idea what it says. If anybody knows what it says, can you let me know in the comments what it says? I'm just going to lift this up here too, but oh, Nancy, yeah. To me, it's one of the customers at work yesterday. They gave me a dress, and it's surprisingly, an indigenous center, right, that is doing the vaccine. and they're giving out the vaccine, the good vaccine. I don't know which one it is. Visine, I think they're calling it. They're giving out the good vaccine in that one, but they're not saying no to anybody who wants to have the vaccine. So tonight, I'm going to go upstairs to my sister's, and we're going to get the application, the consent form. I'm going to fill that out, and then I'm going to go down. She gave me the address. I'm going to go down tomorrow and see if I can get my vaccination, right? It's very important that I represent the way I feel. I think it's very important that we all get our vaccine if at all possible. But like on Nancy's case, right? Sometimes we just kind of get into the system and we just have to be, I don't know, optimistic that things will work out. But isn't that better that if the very most of us that could get vaccinated, at the very least that we're keeping our Nancy safe by getting our vaccinations, right? Because she can't have her vaccination. She's trying to get it, but she can't get it, right? No, Nancy, I remember when you were having those seizures. I remember then I'm so grateful. Like, you have no idea how grateful I am that you haven't had a problem with the seizures, right? That you've been able to have your seizure medication. You haven't had any seizures during the coronavirus. Can you imagine if you had to get into the hospital during this time, Nancy? And we've talked about this a couple of times, but I'm very grateful that you haven't had to go into the hospital with your seizure issues. Right? Yeah, very grateful. That was something, right? It was almost like every 2 weeks you were going into the hospital. Can you imagine? You would have gotten the coronavirus. Somebody, I know it looks bad. I know you've gone through a terrible, terrible couple of years, Nancy. I know you have. But in a way, if you look at it, don't you think that maybe somebody or something has been keeping you safe, right? Keeping you out of the hospital like that? Right? That is, I think it's pretty incredible. And I'd like to look at it as a miracle rather than, right, all the hardships that you've gone. My voice is really, I talked a lot today, nonstop. I talked a lot today. I did a live today and I did a live now. And my voice is pretty tight now. Oh, are you in a tornado alley, Andrew? Are you in a tornado alley? Yeah, this might be a good thing, Nancy, if you don't get your vaccine, but everybody else does, right? And I know you for a couple of years, like you wouldn't have a problem wearing your mask or having extra sanitizer in your purse. Like you wouldn't mind doing that to keep safe if you have to, right? You do what you have to keep safe. If you don't feel that you should be taking the vaccine, Nancy, don't take the vaccine. I would like to see you get the vaccine, but if you can't get it, right, it would be, and this is why cause and effect is so important. Like, again, we're keeping Nancy safe by getting our vaccines, right? There's a special purpose for our girl Nancy. I still don't know what that purpose is, but man, something, God's got something big in store for Nancy, really, for everything that she's gone through in her life. And she's had some good moments too, but those bad moments were some pretty big doozies. And the way she pops up from them like a jack in a box with a smile on her face, or how she just keeps trying to figure out how to work things out. And they always do, right? Like, yeah, there's a big plan for her. I'm curious to see what that is. Just as curious as my own plan for myself, right? Because I believe that I'm heading for somewhere. You guys know I have. I've been saying it since 2014 that, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but I know that there's a place for me, that there's a plan for me, that, life has something bigger in store. And I just follow my intuition. And yeah, my brand looks a whole lot different than the way it used to. And Owen, thank you so much. I was just replying to you just before my live, right? When you watched, and I watched it again too. And thank you for sending me that comment on that old log frame house. Remember, there was an old house, old log frame, and then the newer house, and they were joined. They were joined together to make a big one. It had a great big huge chimney, and it had a pump house on the land and fallen down barns, and it was beautiful landscape, nature and everything. And I was walking through the wheat and the fields and everything. And yeah, thank you, Owen, for sending me that little comment. Oh, that wasn't Owen either. That was Dave. That was Dave Mooncow. That was Dave that sent me that comment, and it made me go in and watch the video and get a little bit of ASMR, right? ASMR. Does anybody watch that content, the ASMR videos? I know I tried to do a little bit because it fit very well with my brand when I was doing the exploring and stuff. So I did do lots of touching nature and walking through the tall grass and making sure that I got a lot of that. My ear is itchy here. I got an itchy ear. I did a lot of that. I did a lot of walking through nature, and I'm looking forward to it again. But if I never walk through another farm field in my entire life, I am good with that, because I believe that there's something bigger in store for me, right? So I trust, and I just let go, and whatever the plan is, I'm in, right? I'm in. Oh, nothing. Well, it feels like sometimes it feels like that, like I need to take a Q-tip to my ear, but I take a Q-tip to my ear. I got the cleanest ears ever. I like Q-tips. I like Q-tips. I like running Q-tips through my ear. And yeah, but I would be absolutely surprised if anybody got any gobs of wax or anything out of my ears. I've seen those videos where people are taking those wax plugs out of people's ears, and it's yucky. It's yucky. And and sometimes when my ear gets itchy like that, I wonder, oh, is there a piece of wax in there like that or something, right? Especially when I have a cold. If I have a cold and I get earaches, because that's usually the first signal for me that I'm going to get a cold, is I'll end up getting some earaches, right? And then I know that I'm going to get a cold. Or I get that dry, itchy in the back of my throat. I get a dry, itchy at the very back of my throat. And then I know that I got a cold coming on. I got a hoarse voice right now, only because, yeah, I've been talking lots today. Yeah, yapping away. What? Melvin, no. No Jeep Rubicons anywheres? They are nice trucks. They are nice trucks, aren't they, Melvin? I love that truck. I love that truck. I look out my window every once in a while, right? Because I believe that, right, something or someone or, right, something is taking care of me out there. And I manifest. I say these affirmations all the time. And I always, right, talk about my Jeep Wrangler Rubicon Unlimited 2021 with the big bull bars, big tires, and the strip lighting across it. I talk about this all the time because I'm manifesting this for myself. I think it would be great for getting on the road, doing the back roads, getting into the bush and making my videos, my explore videos, and getting with Mother Nature, right? It would be amazing. But I manifest these. I say, oh, so I look out my window every day because I expect to see it outside my window with a big bow. And I'm not joking, right? Because I actually believe that I'm going to look out my window one day and my Jeep Rubicon is going to be sitting out there and it's going to have a great big bow. You know how they put the big bows when somebody gets a gift of a nice truck or a nice vehicle? That I think it's going to be out there. So it would be really, really embarrassing if I run out to that Jeep, right? Because I believe that I'm going to look out my window one day and it's going to be there. And it would be funny. And it would be my own fault too, because I got myself so hyped up that when I see that Jeep out there with the big bow and I run out there, my Jeep, and I'm jumping in there and I'm trying to find the keys to get in there and I'm ripping off the bows off the window. just to find out that the truck wasn't for me. It was for somebody, meant for somebody across the street or something like that, right? But really, Melvin, how did you find out about that? I didn't know that. I didn't know they were running out of that truck. It's a nice truck. Oh my goodness. With all the extras, it was like $69,000. Like you could buy a house in some small towns and stuff like that for 69,000. You could still buy a house for that amount, right? But I love Jeep. I really do. And I've never, well, we had a Jeep Cherokee. Me and my husband had a Jeep Cherokee. I think it was at 2000, was it in 2008? 1998. We got a Jeep Cherokee, right? It was right before we separated, and it ended up being his truck. And it was really kind of neat, right? Because he didn't have to go for a regular driver's license. It was because he was in the military. He was automatically given his license because he was licensed for military vehicles, right? Because he worked for stores and in different departments. So he had to have his military driver's license, and he drove the big trucks and everything in the convoys. So I guess when he went to get his civilian driver's license, they just gave it to him. And he didn't have to go for a driver's test or anything. Yeah. It took him a few weeks to learn how to drive because I did all the driving, right? I did all the driving before that. But as soon as he got the truck, that was it. We shared the truck for a little bit, but when I separated from him, I just came back to Winnipeg. I let him keep the vehicle, but of course I let him keep the loan too. So he had to pay the loan on the vehicle. But from what I heard, he didn't get to keep that car for very long because I think he went into bankruptcy or something shortly after our marriage fell apart, right? When my life fell apart, my husband's life fell apart too. It was lots of changes for him too, right? I slowed his life down quite a bit, right? And maybe I truly believe we were meant to be together, right? We were meant to have that experience in those relationships because he truly, truly, truly did teach me about true love, right? My husband, I was very grateful. I was very lucky to have a man who loved me so much. He loved me so much that he wanted my dreams to be fulfilled, right? As soon as I started whining for babies and stuff, he didn't want any babies, right? And he said, okay. Cindy wants babies. Well, she's not getting them for me. We're separating, right? It was kind of something like that, I think. I never asked, right? Like if it's over, it's over. Like that's it, right? Right? Because otherwise you're going to go back into something and you're always going to second guess yourself. You're always going to think you're not good enough or it's going to happen again. So yeah, with me, it was just like, okay, bye. And again, one of my dad's saying, right? If it's not for you, let it go. If it comes back, it's yours. If it doesn't, it never was, right? So a little bit of that too. So I let him go, and I thought it was just because he needed to get some stuff out of his system. Because, like I said, he was 10 years younger than me when we got married. Right? My husband was 10 years younger than I was, so he had different ideas, and he wasn't done with that young, right? That partying, that right. And I was ready to settle down. I found my man. I wanted to have babies. I wanted to be a housewife, right? But I had problems, and my soul was trying to wake me up, right? And sometimes when we're not paying attention and we're not looking around and we're not taking our lessons, right? Life will throw you a curveball and throw something into the mix to mix things up. And the next thing you know, you're on a totally different path, right? And that's the way it works, people. And we shouldn't be afraid of that. And it's painful and it's a struggle at times, but it's life, right? And lots of us here, we know this already. And we struggle through our lives and we just hack the way the best we can. And then every once in a while, if we're lucky, we bump into somebody amazing, right? And every single one of these people that join me on Sunday nights are absolutely amazing. I love you together. And I will know you when I'm 90 years old, right? we'll still come out and hang out with each other on Sunday nights, and we'll celebrate each other's successes, and we'll support each other in our struggles, and we'll hold each other up in our heartbreaks and in our sadnesses and in the difficult times, won't we? Right? Because we're friends, because we're moving this journey together. We're doing this together, right? And sometimes, like I said, that's all we need is just to know that there's somebody just hanging out alongside us. And you pick through the lessons. We all have different ideas. It takes all kinds to make the world. And we all have different ideas. But again, if you just practice kindness, and tolerance, a little bit of acceptance along the way, right? Bite our tongues on the things that we don't agree with, and support each other in the things that you do agree with, right? Because somebody's brave enough to open up their mouth and say something that they believe in, but just really didn't have the courage to get it out properly, and they fumbled and it didn't really come out the way they wanted to, or maybe it did. But to somebody to just jump in and say, good job, or I agree with you, and what an interesting insight, or I'm going to have to look into that, or that's, no, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. But I appreciate you being brave, genuine, and being yourself, right? And I'm going to allow you to do that, right? Because you're being accepting, and tolerant of each other, right? You got to remember, 8% of those 10% of the people that don't like you will practice mindset. It's important to them too that they bite their tongue, even if they have different negative ideas about what you're up to or have judgments and stuff, right? But if you know in your heart, if you believe, and if you're with me at all, you know how big believe is. Believe is just as important as kindness is, right? If you're hanging out with me, believe is a constant. It's a constant. And I think that's why we have been hanging out together, because in some way we believe that we're meant to hang out with each other, right? Right? Okay, let's take a look at some of these comments here before we end our live. If anybody's got anything to say, I would love to hear it right now, because I am paying attention. I'm reading. I'm at Melvin's question here, letting Cindy know that there are no Jeep Rubicons or any trucks at any dealerships right now. All sold out. People are going to have to sell their toys. And again, too, right? That's a good thing, because I'm thinking, I'm going to make payments and stuff. Well, if they're sold out, people, I guess, can take the cream of the crop when it comes to who we're going to sell vehicles to, right? So I better keep hacking away at my sales. Oh, everybody, can I show you the statues, the pieces of art that I picked up this week? They were a little bit expensive for me. They cost me $10, but I thought I might get a couple $100 for them. But when I got them home, I said, no, they have to stay with me. I fell in love with them. Okay, wait till I sit here, get this, and I'm going to pull them up really close. Take a look at these faces of these characters that I got. I got these at work. I paid $10 for them. With my staff discount, they were $7. The artist is I don't know. They are signed pieces, or if they're not, they are pretty magnificent. Look at the sculpture on those faces. Look at those eyes. They look like actual glass eyes, but they're not glass eyes. They're actually painted, and she's glazed them, right? Isn't that cool? Take a look at this. This lady has cataracts, right? This lady has cataracts. Now, it reminds me of a mythological legend of three witches. Oh, they actually do look like witches, don't they? They actually have a medieval kind of feel to them with those hats, right? But but one has cataracts, and yeah, look at this one. Look at this. She's cute. She's got like such a little baby face, and look at the sculpture in in these clay figurines. These are going to stay with me forever. Now I'm trying to think of the three witches in mythology, right? Where they shared one tooth. Oh, and one eye. Look at this lady had, oh, she's got her eyes. She's got one cataract. Oh no, her eyes are okay too. But this lady definitely has, this lady here actually for sure has cataracts. She has cataracts for sure. But yeah, beautiful sculpture, beautiful, beautiful work. And these will stay with me forever. I absolutely fell in love with them. And I don't care what they're worth. If they're $500, I don't care. They're staying with me forever. I got to find a good spot for them though, so that they don't tip over, things go bump in the night and they get a little wiggle or something. But they're really well made. They're very sturdy. They're very set. They're very heavy, right? They are clay work and pieces of art. Literally, they're pieces of art, right? Okay, everybody. Well, I guess that's my good cheer for tonight, isn't it? I'm just going to take a look here at a few of these comments before we go. Oh, the COVID. Wow, that's interesting. And 100%, oh, and we stick together through all of this. We stick together. We're doing good. We're doing good, right? Like this is about taking care of each other emotionally, being friends, right? Interacting, being a part of the world, having a say, right? Because lots of us were introverted, but we have things to say. We have great minds. We have great ideas. Is it snowing outside, you guys? I think it's snowing. It's cold. Oh, darn. Well, it's getting close, people. Spring is getting close. I've got my bike right behind me. And you know what? Maybe I'll go for a bike ride tonight and go for a cup of coffee with the nice snow. That will be very nice, right? And I shouldn't feel bad. I shouldn't feel that I'm unmotivated or being unproductive, because boy, I am productive. I did really go. I'm looking at making, I'm thinking that after the coronavirus that I want to do a Manitoba safari. I want to pick some of my favorite campsites and trails. I know people have difficulties walking and stuff, but we can have different activities, but I just want some of us to get together to go and experience something amazing in Mother Nature. And I thought maybe I could do like a little 7-day trip or something, where we maybe go camping for a couple of days, maybe go see the polar bears, or go to see the Fort Francis, right? Or take a train ride, or go fishing, or show some of the amazing places, go exploring, maybe some of the abandoned, see some of the history, right? That I could show off Manitoba a little bit. And I thought maybe I could put little package tour together, an inexpensive one, because I know my viewers, they don't have a lot of money, but something that we can invest in ourselves and the joy, something that we can look back on and when we're 80 years old and be grateful to have known the people that we had and had the experiences that we had. So I've been doing a little bit of research on Manitoba. I have lots of Manitoba books. I have lots of books on Manitoba. This one is specifically on ghost towns and parks and trails and different towns and stuff and what they're known for, different fishing places people like to go fishing and outback camping, different churches, and right, because it's a lot. This is a multicultural province. We have lots of denominations, lots of different cultures in this province, and I would really like to represent this province a little bit more. So I'm thinking on those terms. If you have any ideas, you want to contribute any ideas, I would love to hear from you. Like DM me, come see me on Instagram, or you could private message me, come through Twitter or YouTube in the comments, right? And yeah, if you want to get a hold of me, if you want to have a conversation with me, I'm not hard to get a hold of. It's Prairie Dodgers across all my platforms, right? And if you want to come live with me, right? I go live every single morning on Instagram, and I have for a couple of years now. I'm live every single day on Instagram. So if you'd like to come live with me, right, and have a little bit of chit chat, we can chit chat about absolutely anything. I would be happy to have you, right? Okay, everybody. That's it for tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you, Luca, an Angry Birds fan, for being first to the show, Andrew, right? Next week, we'll see if Andrew makes it back to his first standing. But as usual, I expect Andrew and Owen to be here almost right away. But, right, never have expectations, right? Because things change. Things change, and we have to accept change, and we got to expect that we're gonna gain people and lose people in our lives, right? And that's just the game in evolution that we live in, right? And I'm happy that you guys are on this journey with me. And yeah, Nancy, take care of yourself, dear. Take care of yourself, everybody. And for those of you who pop in later, I know Kathy will be here and Sharon will be here. And right, I'm trying to think of all the people that usually pop in live with me. But you guys, I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next Sunday. Have a great night. Bye-bye.